Welcome. I am Darth Vadad. Join me as I remember things I loved when I was younger and still love today. Growing up in the 1970s and 80s, I watched a lot of TV reruns, from Looney Tunes and Johnny Quest to The Brady Bunch and The Wild Wild West. I watched early sitcoms like The Dick Van Dyke Show just as often as cartoons like Underdog. But one show that had a great impact on me was a corny cartoon version of the ultimate symbol of the 60s, the Beatles. Broadcast network ABC aired first-run episodes from September 1965 to October 1967. Reruns continued to air on ABC until 1969. I didn't discover the cartoon Beatles until some reruns aired in the 70s. I don't know how many of the 39 episodes I saw, but it was enough to make me a Beatles fan ever since. The show's producer, Al Brodax, later produced the 1968 animated Yellow Submarine. Though the feature film is much more fondly remembered than the Beatles TV series, neither project had much, if any, input from the Beatles outside of their songs. But those songs were the highlight of every episode. Imagine being a child and hearing "Got to Get You Into My Life" or "No Reply" for the first time. Even though hit singles were well represented, such as "I Want to Hold Your Hand" or "Penny Lane," a number of covers the Beatles recorded for various albums also were featured on the show. Before I ever owned copies of the Beatles' music, back when I might hear one of their songs on a car radio only once in a while, the cartoons were an early introduction to so many classics. The plots of the episodes were fairly weak. The Beatles would travel the world and find themselves in some strange situations. One story featured an active volcano in Hawaii. Another found Paul somehow tangling with a dancing bear at a carnival. The Mop-Tops even encountered Dracula after hours in a wax museum. They stopped him by melting down their own figures and using the quickly hardening wax to trap their foe. Beyond the lame plot lines, the voice acting was iffy at best. Paul Frees voiced John and George, but he's better remembered as Boris Badenov from Rocky and Bullwinkle, or as various characters from Rankin Bass holiday specials like Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Despite his long resume and considerable talent, Frees made a terrible John Lennon. Lance Percival voiced Paul and Ringo with somewhat more success, but was tasked with playing Ringo as a clown, which was hardly fair to the good-natured drummer almost everyone loves. Percival also worked with Beatles producer George Martin on more than one comedy song, and later played the character of Old Fred in Yellow Submarine. Despite the thin plots, some racist depictions of ethnic stereotypes, and other obvious weaknesses of the show, it still managed to plant the seed that grew into my enduring love of the Beatles songs I still enjoy today. Even if those 39 episodes of children's TV never get another official release, I'll always cherish the memory of experiencing many of those songs for the first time. I could probably trace my childhood love of another music-filled TV series to having watched the animated version of the Beatles. The Monkees was often unfairly criticized for trying to cash in on the success of groups like the Beatles, but the show gave the world many great pop songs. I even met Mickey Dolenz once in the 80s when he was exhibiting his art at a local mall. When I saw he was there, I went and bought a CD of the Monkees' greatest hits and asked him to sign it, becoming the first musician's autograph I ever got. Sadly, this video is coming to an end, so I'll have to save my recollections of the Monkees TV show for another time. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, tap the like button and subscribe for more Darth Vadad videos. Thanks, and have a great day.